Hey folks, Coach Rich here. Wanted to add a few thoughts to Patrick's already excellent, of course, thoughts about why it's not a good idea to race marathons in the off season as a tool to improve your Ironman marathon. I'm going to bring up two additional points. The first is execution, race day execution, and the second is the opportunity cost of running a marathon in the off season. With all of the volume of noise of the conversations that take place in our space around the topic of Ironman training, and the relatively little discussions that happen around Ironman execution, it's only natural for people to finish a race. They didn't have the race that they wanted. They slowed down dramatically on the run, and it's only natural for them to assign a training issue to that. The reason why I didn't have the race I wanted, or the reason why I slowed down, was because I didn't train properly. It's a fitness issue. I need to make myself stronger. And the reason why they think like that is because there's so little conversation in the space about how to actually race. In our experience, we feel that if you were to measure your race against the pacing metrics that we give our folks. In other words, we have a very specific, detailed, data-driven. We've done a lot of research and analysis of how to pace the bike and how to pace the run, and very specific numbers. If you were to look at your race according to those data points, it's very likely that you rode the bike too hard, you ran the first 6 miles of the run too fast, and the net is that you slowed down quite a bit in the last 8 miles of the run. So what I'm saying is, before you get all crazy rewriting your training plan for next year and thinking that you have to run marathons and whatnot, take a look at your race and how did I race. Is it possible that the reason why I didn't have the race I wanted, or the reason why I slowed down on the run so much, is it possible it's because I didn't execute properly? In our experience, 80% of the folks out there on race day don't know how to execute. And so you'll hear us say it, but we feel very strongly that proper race execution is free speed on race day, because if you execute properly, you just don't slow down. And that act of not slowing down can yield 15, 20, 30, 60-minute PRs without having to readdress any training issues. So look at execution first. The second topic is the opportunity cost of running a marathon in the out season. Let's look at what you're going to do for a marathon. Leading up to the marathon, you're going to have to taper for about 2 weeks. Then you're going to race, and then after that race, you're not really going to be able to do any quality work for minimum 2, more likely 3, sometimes 4 weeks. And when you do pick up the training ball at the end of that 4 weeks, you will have lost quite a bit of fitness between your taper, the race, and the rest after the race. So you're punching a big 4 to 6 week hole in your schedule, and you're exiting that hole with a significantly less fitness than where you entered it. People don't think about that. Okay. In addition, as you're at some point, if you are trying to maintain a triathlon, therefore I ride a bike hat at the same time that I am training for a marathon, at some point your continued triathlon training and your marathon training are going to bump heads, and that means a couple things happen. One is your marathon training becomes subpar because you're trying to also work on your bike or maintain your cycling fitness, and at the same time you're just going to be treading water on the bike because you're having to make compromises to your bike training to accommodate your marathon training. So the net is, you end up, when you're training on the front end, when you're training for that marathon, you're not really training for a fast marathon because you are trying to also ride a bike at the same time. And you're not getting faster on the bike because you are marathon training at the same time. So there's this huge opportunity cost that happens with running a marathon in the off season. There's the opportunity cost of getting faster on the run. You can't really get faster because you're doing marathon training, and marathon training by its nature is longer running. Longer running means I'm running slower. I'm not getting faster. I'm becoming a better long runner. So I'm not making myself a faster runner. There's the opportunity cost. There's the missed opportunity of making yourself a dramatically faster cyclist in the out season because you are focused so much on the run. And then there's the opportunity cost of that big, 4 to 6 week hole that you're punching in your schedule. Like Patrick said, having completed a standalone marathon is not a prerequisite for a good Ironman race. I've done 7 Ironmans, never even entered a standalone marathon. Have zero desire to run a marathon. It's just not necessary. So bottom line is, you hear us talk about this with our off-season training plans. Our focus on the off-season is on making you faster, making you a faster runner, making you a faster cyclist through high-intensity, low-volume work, and then adding distance to that much closer to your race. The bottom line is there's 2 methods to improve your Ironman marathon time. Number 1, most important free speed is proper execution. Go back, look at your race. Did I execute it properly? Download our Ironman race kit at endurancenation.us. In that kit, we have our 4 keys to Ironman execution ebook. We go into gruesome detail about how to execute all facets of Ironman racing. Look at that first. We guarantee you that there is very likely some free speed to be had just by learning how to race better. And the second way to race faster on race day is to make yourself a faster runner. You earn the right to run faster on race day by making yourself a faster runner in training. If your threshold pace is 8-minute miles, that pace equals a marathon pace. And that pace, if you execute the Ironman marathon correctly, that 8-minute pace equals an Ironman run pace. There's no, which let's say, making this up, let's say a threshold pace of 8-minute miles equals a marathon pace of 9-minute miles equals a good Ironman run pace of 9:15s. No amount of long running that you do, no amount of marathon training, if it's not accompanied by decreasing your threshold pace, no amount of marathon running will make that 9:15s into 9s, into 8:45s. There's no such thing as I have a threshold pace of 8 and you have a threshold pace of 8. There's no such thing as I'm able to run 8:45 minute miles to your 9:15s. It does not exist. These are 2 guys who've looked at many data points. You just have to trust us on this, okay? If you want to go from 9:15 pace to 8:45 pace, the only way that you do that is by reducing your threshold pace from 8-minute miles to 7:30s. Don't get caught up in the numbers. I'm totally making that stuff up, pulling them out of my head. But what I'm trying to get across here is you earn the right to run faster on race day by making yourself a faster runner in training. And the data point that you're using is, what is my threshold run pace? If my threshold run pace is faster, then I am beginning to earn the right to run faster on race day. Okay, folks, that's it. Hope this was helpful. I'm going to throw this up next to Patrick's video. Really like doing these things rather than writing all the time. Thanks, folks.